Good morning. Now we are starting today Biotechnology Principles and Processes, Class 12, Chapter 11, Unit 9. Now, all human knowledge, especially natural sciences, were directed to develop technologies which add to the creating comforts for human lives and also value to human life. Physics and chemistry gave rise to engineering, technologies, and industries which all worked for human comfort and welfare. So, the major utility of the biological world is as a source of food. So, biotechnology, the 20th century part of modern biology, changed our daily life as its products brought quantitative improvement as well as qualitative improvement, I can say, in the human health and food production. So the basic principles underlying biotechnological processes and some applications are highlighted and discussed in this unit of biotechnology. Herbert Boyer was born in 1936 and he brought up in a corner of western Pennsylvania, and where railroads and mines were the destiny of the most of the young men. He completed graduate work at the University of Pittsburgh in 1963, followed by 3 years of postgraduate studies at Yale. 1966, Boyer took over assistant professorship at the University of California at San Francisco. By 1969, he performed studies on a couple of restriction enzymes. We'll be talking about all these in detail in this unit. Of E. coli bacterium, which have specially useful properties. So Boyer observed that these enzymes have the capacity of cutting the DNA strands in a particular fashion, which left what was become known as the sticky ends on the strands, and these clipped ends made pasting together pieces of DNA is a precise exercise. This discovery led to the rich and rewarding conversation in Hawaii and a standard scientist, namely Stanley Cohen. You can see here the picture of both the scientists, Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen. Stanley Cohen had been studying small ringlets of DNA called plasmids, and which float. Now these are the plasmids, extrachromosomal DNA. So Cohen had been studying small ringlets of DNA and which float about freely in the cytoplasm of certain bacterial cells and replicate independently from the coding strand of DNA. So Cohen has developed a method of removing these plasmids. So these plasmids need to be removed from the cell and then reinserting them into the other cells. So combining this process with that of DNA splicing enabled Boyer and Cohen to recombine segments of DNA in desired configuration and insert the DNA in bacterial cells. So this results in the manufacturing of plants and specific proteins, and this breakthrough was the basis upon which the discipline of biotechnology was founded. So these two were considered as the founder of biotechnology. Now, before this, let's just have a look at the definition of biotechnology. Biotechnology deals with the techniques of using live organisms or enzymes from organisms to produce products and processes useful to humans. Now, in this sense, making curd, bread, wine, which are all micro-mediated processes, could also be thought as a form of biotechnology, but it is used in the restricted sense today to refer to such of those processes which use genetically modified organisms to achieve the same on a large scale. Many other processes techniques are also included under biotechnology. For example, in vitro fertilization leading to a test tube baby, synthesizing a gene and using it, developing a DNA vaccine, or correcting a defective gene. They are all parts of biotechnology. European Federation of Biotechnology has given a definition of biotechnology. The integration of natural science and organisms, cell parts thereof, and molecular analogues for products and services. So this was the definition given by EFB. Now I'll come to the principles of biotechnology. Now, the two core principles that enabled birth of modern biotechnology are genetic engineering. Now, techniques to alter the chemistry of genetic material. Now, genetic material can be DNA or RNA to introduce into host organisms and thus change the phenotype of the host organism. So that is genetic engineering. We'll be discussing in detail. And second is bioprocess engineering, that is also related to maintenance of sterile environment, contamination free ambience, and chemical engineering processes to enable growth of only the required or desired microbe or eukaryotic cell in large quantities for the manufacture of biotechnological products like antibiotics, vaccines, enzymes, etc. Let us now understand the development of the principles of genetic engineering. We know the advantages of sexual reproduction over asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction provides opportunity for variations and formulation of unique combination of genetic setup, some of which may be beneficial to the organisms as well as to the populations. So an asexual reproduction preserves the genetic information while sexual reproduction permits variations. So traditional hybridization procedures used in plants and animal breeding very often lead to inclusion and multiplication of undesirable genes along with the desired genes. So the technique of genetic engineering. Which include creation of recombinant DNA, use of gene cloning and gene transfer, that has overcome this limitation and allows us to isolate and introduce only one or a set of desirable genes without introducing undesirable genes into the target organisms. Now, the likely fate of the piece of the DNA which is somehow transferred into the alien organism. Now, this piece of DNA would not be able to multiply itself in the progeny cell of the organisms, but when it gets integrated into the genome of the recipient, it may multiply and be inherited along with the host DNA. This is because the alien piece of DNA has become a part of the chromosome which has the ability to replicate. So in a chromosome there is a specific DNA sequence called origin of replication, which we have discussed already in chapter 6, which is responsible for initiating replication. Therefore, for the multiplication of any alien piece of DNA in an organism, it needs to be a part of the chromosome which has a specific sequence known as origin of replication. Thus, an alien DNA is linked with the origin of replication so that this alien piece of DNA can replicate and multiply itself in the host organism. This can also be called as cloning, or making multiple identical copies of any template DNA. So this can also be called as cloning or making multiple identical copies of any template DNA. So this is a simple picture of the DNA molecule. Now let us focus on the first instance of the construction of an artificial recombinant DNA molecule. The construction of the first recombinant DNA emerged from the possibility of linking a gene encoding antibiotic resistant with a native plasmid. A plasmid which is autonomously replicating circular extrachromosomal DNA of Salmonella typhimurium. So Stanley Cohen and Herbert Boyer accomplished this in 1972 by isolating the antibiotic resistant gene by cutting out a piece of DNA from a plasmid which was responsible for conferring antibiotic resistance. So the cutting of DNA at specific locations became possible with the discovery of the so-called molecular scissors, which are also called as restriction enzymes. The cut piece of DNA was then linked with plasmid DNA. So these plasmid DNA act as vectors to transfer the piece of DNA attached to it. Mosquito, we know that mosquito acts as an insect vector to transfer the malarial parasite into human body. In the same way, a plasmid can be used as a vector to deliver an alien piece of DNA into the host organism. So the linking of antibiotic resistant gene with the plasmid vector became possible with the enzyme DNA ligase. Here written DNA ligase, and which acts on the cut DNA molecule and join their ends. So this makes a new combination of circular autonomously replicating DNA created in vitro and is known as recombinant DNA. Here you can have a look at this, that how cloning vectors or plasmids. Okay, plasmids, they are acting as vectors, and we can alter the DNA using it. So when this DNA is transferred into E. coli, a bacterium which is closely related to Salmonella, it could replicate using the new host DNA polymerase enzyme and make multiple copies. So this ability, so you can see here this blue colored font, this ability to multiply copies of antibiotic resistant gene in E. coli was called cloning of antibiotic resistant gene in E. coli. Thus we refer here that there are three basic steps in genetically modifying of an organism. First is identification of the DNA with the desirable gene. Second is to introduction of the identified DNA into the host. And third is to maintain the introduced DNA in the host and transfer of the DNA to its progeny. So these three basic steps, they are involved in genetically modifying an organism. So let's discuss it again. Genetically modifying an organism requires basic three steps. First is identification of the DNA with the desirable gene. पहले हमने आइडेंटिफाई करना है कौन सा हमें डीएनए का पार्ट चाहिए. सेकेंड इज इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ द आइडेंटिफाइड डीएनए इनटू द होस्ट. Here host needs to get that identified DNA. And the third is maintenance of the introduced DNA in the host and then transfer of the DNA to its progeny. So these basic processes, they will be involved in they are involved in the genetically modifying any organism. Now, tools of recombinant DNA technology. So this is a long topic that will be starting in the next presentation.